Hi, cheers, coffee. This is Bobby from Ragged Poet. Long time no video, but thanks to Larissa, Green Witch's Homestead, and Hipster, New Age Hipster 333. They've opened a conversation on IGTV, which I don't have. That banging is my goat banging at the door, trying to tease a cat, which I don't have, so I'm making this video on YouTube, and it's been so long since I made a video I've forgotten how to do it, and my phone battery's pretty dead, so I've got it on a long charger hoping it's going to survive. Anyway, all that aside, so I'll try and link the videos below. I'm not sure if I can even link IGTV videos or if they actually stay on Instagram or disappear or what, because Instagram for me is just photo sharing, which I love and have been doing for a long time, and I don't get into all the other stories and other bits of it because I kind of don't want them. Although I enjoyed these. So the video were about the pricing and cost of things like courses and I guess everything really, tarot decks, and how the cost of them is quite exclusive. And the two side, Larissa was basically sort of agreeing, no one was disagreeing, but she's saying that it is a good thing to offer discounts and offer people who are less affluent a way in. And New Age Hipster was saying, you need to watch their videos probably before you watch mine. New Age Hipster was saying that don't discount courses. No, there's a cat coming. You can't go on there. You're going to knock my video over. The black cat wants to go on now. Don't discount courses, especially when you offer them at a higher price. And if your course is worth, for example, $100, then don't go and sell it for $15, because that's doing an injustice to not only yourself, but the other people who paid full price for your course. And I do agree with that too. So you've got two different things. You've got this not being able to afford to do any of it, which I fully appreciate because I'm pretty much in that bracket myself. And then you've got the other side of people feeling they've been ripped off if they pay a lot and then it gets discounted. Or the person who's putting out the content feeling that they're not getting what their work is worth. I've been on both sides. I've been a buyer and a creative. I had a business. Disclaimer: I do not believe you can have a spiritual business. Heart-centered, yes. Self-help, yes. I don't believe that those two, spiritual and business, are an oxymoron. They don't go together. But that's just a little disclaimer there. So, but I had a business selling, as some of you know, tarot bags, which took a lot of work and a lot of effort, way more than I could ever possibly get paid for. And I did it for quite a few years. I used to sell them really cheap, and then I realised I couldn't afford to do that, and then I started making bespoke bags. But how I did it, I didn't advertise. I'm not a businesswoman. I'll never be a businesswoman. Just don't have that gene or whatever it is, that bone in my body. But I did love to make and share. So I just made some bags. People wanted them, and people would approach me always personally by email or on Instagram and say, I really love your bags, I'd really want one. Sometimes they would say, I would really love a bag, but I can't afford it. And I would barter. I even took things I didn't want. I would barter for decks or something reciprocal, something that they would do, a reading, whatever. So that is one solution. When you're kind of trading skill for skill, because if someone really is mindful about something, and this is a huge difference, this is where I think this is key. This is key to all of it. And Larissa touched on it when she said about saving up for a course and things, but obviously you can't always afford to do that. There's a course I'd always wanted to take for years, but I haven't been able to afford, because every time I save up some money, it has to go on new water pumps or something, or cat food. So I've been trying to think of ways around this that fit both things, so that the person creating does not feel that their work is worth this or devalued, because then that is going to discount the whole point of it. So like this, the bartering thing was one thing I came up with. The sliding price scale, if people are honest, then that could work. I think the other thing I've seen a couple of times years ago is someone had, say, a course with maybe 10 places, but 2 of the places are funded by the other people. So if you can afford to pay a bit more, you put that into one of the other courses, and then someone decides who gets the discounted or free courses. That's another way of doing things. Again, this is like the honesty box at the end of the garden with the lemons. You're relying on people to be honest and open. There's the thing about mindfulness and being really mindful about what you buy and how you buy, I think is really important. It's so easy to see a million decks or courses that everyone in your community or what you feel is your community is doing. You think, I want that, I want that, I want that, I need that. It's a whole other conversation, but it's part of this sort of self-help, this thing. It's just like being in a pub and having another drink and all these other things that we do. So I think trying to work out why you're doing this, why you want that thing, and do you really want it enough is one aspect of it. And there are ways that you can enter this conversation with this pricing and value, and they are by honest reviews. If you do something, don't be afraid to say you didn't like it, but be respectful. You can do very honest and very respectful reviews. It may not suit you, but it may help other people to be more mindful about what they're buying. Don't be afraid to enter the conversation. And as a content provider, when I was a kid, every business, you didn't get business by just putting an advert on Instagram. Obviously there was no Instagram or whatever. You got business by working at it for years and getting a reputation and earning by word of mouth. And whatever business you were doing, that was what counted. So if you want to get that, then you need to start by giving stuff away. You've got to show people what you can do. And I did this a lot. There's a lot of people out there who give out a lot of free content. So when you buy something from them, you're not only supporting that free content, but you also know what you're getting. You know the value and the quality of what you're going to be putting your money into. So for people who are offering courses or things, Kickstarter or whatever, show them what you're worth. Show people what you can do. I know a lot of people who watermark every photo they put on Facebook or whatever, and okay, if that's what they want to do, that's fine. I wouldn't personally do that. I get so much joy out of sharing photos, and I get so many lovely comments. I also know that Larissa Greenwich's Homestead shares incredible photos and words. We're both photographers and we love photography, and we both write and love words, and so much is out there. So if you bought something from that person, you would know the quality of what you're going to be getting. But sharing, there's different kinds of currency. We can't eat joy, we can't live on joy, but it can go a long way to enhancing your life, and maybe meaning like you get so much joy from what you put out there, you don't need that self-help course, so you don't have to buy it, which may not help the person selling it, but it's all about balance. So I think the best way to be a seller, a business person, whatever you want to call it, is to start by, you've got to build up your reputation. Let people know that what you've got is worth it. And I do agree with New Age Hipster. there's nothing more upsetting than to save up and buy something and then see it 3 weeks later. Like you've supported this person at the outset and been introduced the introductory the course at the full price or whatever, and you've supported them or on Kickstarter. Then suddenly you see these offers like $20 off or discounted courses, and you do feel, no matter how big-hearted or whatever, you can feel hard done by unless you take the stand. Okay, well I wanted it. It is what it is. It's not always easy to do. I try. I mean, I can remember quite a few times I've bought a deck, and because it's a limited edition, whatever, then you pay full price, and you see another edition out, and then another edition, and then there's $10 off vouchers and $20 off vouchers, and do that at the beginning. Do an introductory course, do a short version, do an affordable version, but maybe not do it after. Don't sell something to someone for $100 and then sell it later on for $15, unless you are a high street chain, and that's not really part of what we're talking about here. Like the winter sales, everyone knows there's going to be a sale, so they don't buy things full price anymore. Sadly, that's what consumerism's become about. And things change, like they go all the time. Anyway, this is a real mix-up. I don't want it to go on for too long, so I'm just making sure that I've said all the things that I was going to say. Transparency is good when you're selling. Just be transparent. Share, but let people see that you've got that what they're getting from you is going to be worth getting. I don't make tarot bags at the moment. It took far too much out of me, and I wasn't able to charge for the amount of work that went in, and because of who I am, I was putting more and more time and more into each bag, and it became like each time I was giving away a little bit of me, which is fine, and I loved the joy and everything, but I had to take a break because it was getting too much. And that was my thing. It wasn't about anyone who bought bags for me. It was my own personal lack of having boundaries and saying, no, this bag is fine, I'm going to do this 2 or 3 days work and then that's it. But I couldn't do that. As I said, I'm not really a very business person. What else have I got written here? Oh yeah, like, as I said about the mindfulness, New Age Hipster mentioned a lot of people, they buy courses and stuff and they never use them. They buy decks, they go on a shelf, they don't use them. Okay, you bought it, but I don't really think it's helping the person who created it if you're just going to buy it to stick on a shelf. But then that's personal, that's none of my business, or anyone else's business actually, what you want to do. But I would say, if you want to help everyone and be on both sides of the camp, then value honest reviews, value personal approaches when people come to you and say, I really want to do this, but I can't afford to. Is there any way we can do anything about it? So that you feel enabled and you've enabled someone else. You don't feel like you've been taken from, or that you're having to give away your worth and your value. As I said, we can't live on joy, but there are other ways of measuring it. Made videos. I made a video a few years ago about how to make a tarot bag, which was a sort of bag that I made. People started making them, selling them on Etsy. People said, well, why did you do that? Because I don't care. I don't want to make loads of those bags and sell them to people. I want to enable other people to do it, because every time I got a comment or a thank you or saw a bag someone made, I get the joy factor. And why do we buy all this stuff? Why do we go and get on these courses? Because we want to make ourselves happy. It's all about being happy. So ultimately, I think it's about the mindfulness and the joy, that happy factor. This is why we do it. All these things are trying to make us happy. That's what we're doing it for. And yeah. So thank you, Larissa Greenwich's Homestead, and thank you also for all of the content you put on Instagram, the beautiful photos, the amazing words, and the sharing. And thank you, New Age Hipster 333, for being part of the conversation, who originally started it. So both points of view, great stuff. And all the people, I was reading comments on Instagram and I made the video because I just couldn't put it in comments. And I'm sorry it's convoluted and jumbled, but and thank you anyone who follows me on Instagram for all of the comments that you give me on the photos and stuff I share, because that is joy. And yeah, it's winter here in New Zealand, so we don't get snow, but it's kind of a dark day, so I've got candles going, and my kitchen table always looks like this. I very rarely eat on it, and I used a kitchen table because I wanted to give you something to look at that wasn't too boring, because it's got my bits and pieces on it that change from week to week, but some stay the same. Anyway, have a great day and thanks again. Bye.